the classic story goes, the vast universe we see today was once extremely small, unimaginably small. Then, suddenly, it got bigger. A lot bigger during the dramatic event known as the Big Bang. The Big Bang stretched the fabric of space and set off the chain of events that brought us to the universe we know and love today. But there's always been a couple of problems with the Big Bang theory. First, when you squeeze the entire universe into an infinitesimally small but stupendously dense package, at a certain point, our laws of physics simply break down. They just don't make sense anymore.
The formulas we use start giving answers that are nonsensical. We find total disaster. Everything breaks down. And we're stuck.
And on top of this, there's the bang itself. What exactly is that?
That's actually a problem. The classic form of the Big Bang theory really says nothing about what banged, what happened before it banged, or what caused it to bang.
Refinements to the Big Bang theory do suggest explanations for the bang, but none of them turn the clock back completely to the moment when everything started.
Most people come at this with the naive notion that there was a beginning, that somehow space and time emerged from nothingness into somethingness. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't like nothing. Do I really believe that the universe was a big bang out of nothing? And I'm not a philosopher, so I won't say, but I can imagine to a philosopher that is a problem. But to a physicist, I think it's also a problem.
Everyone admits there are problems. The question is, can string theory solve them? Some string theorists have suggested that the Big Bang wasn't the beginning at all, that the universe could have existed long before, even forever. Not everyone is comfortable with the idea.
I actually find it rather unattractive to think about a universe without a beginning. It seems to me that a universe without a beginning is also a universe without an explanation.
So what is the explanation? What if string theory is right, and we're all living on a giant membrane inside a higher dimensional space?
One of the ideas in string theory that was particularly striking to me and suggested perhaps a new direction for cosmology is the idea of brains, and the idea of brains moving in extra dimensions.
Some scientists have proposed that the answer to the Big Bang riddle lies in the movements of these giant brains.
It's so simple. Here's a brain on which we live, and here's another brain floating in the higher dimension. There's absolutely nothing difficult about imagining that these collide with each other.
According to this idea, sometime before the Big Bang, two brains carrying parallel universes began drifting toward each other. Until
all of that energy has to go somewhere. Where does it go? It goes into the Big Bang. It creates the expansion that we see, and it heats up all the particles in the universe in this big fiery mass.
As if this weren't weird enough, the proponents of this idea make another radical claim. The Big Bang was not a special event. They say that parallel universes could have collided not just once in the past, but again and again. And that it will happen in the future. If this view is right, there's a brain out there right now headed on a collision course with our universe.
So another collision is coming, and there'll be another Big Bang, and this will just repeat itself for an indefinite period into the future.
It's an intriguing idea. Unfortunately, there are a few technical problems.
Well, that was a very ingenious scenario that arose naturally within string theory. However, the good old problems creep back in again.
The fact is, we don't really know what happens when two brains collide. You could wind up with the same situation we had with the Big Bang. The equations don't make sense.
They have to make a lot of assumptions in their models, and I don't think they've really solved the problem of the Big Bang in string theory.
If string theory is the one true theory of the universe, it will have to solve the riddle of the Big Bang. And there's a lot of hope that someday string theory will succeed. But for now, there's also a lot of uncertainty. As promising and exciting as the theory is, we don't entirely understand it.
It's as if we've stumbled in the dark into a house which we thought was a two-bedroom apartment, and now we're discovering it's a 19-room mansion at least. And maybe it's got 1,000 rooms, and we're just beginning our journey.
So, how sure are we that the universe is the way that string theory describes it? Is the world really made up of strings and membranes, parallel universes, and extra dimensions? Is this all science or science fiction?
Well, the question we often ask ourselves as we work through our equations is this just fancy mathematics, or is it describing the real world?
These exercises in our imagination in mathematics are all, at the end of the day, subjected to a single question. Is it there in the laboratory? Can you find its evidence?
String theory and string theorists do have a real problem. How do you actually test string theory? If you can't test it in the way that we test normal theories, it's not science, it's philosophy. That's a real problem.
Strings are thought to be so tiny, much smaller than an atom, that there's probably no way to see them directly. What if we never find any evidence that supports this weird new universe filled with membranes and tiny vibrating strings? Could string theory, in the end, be wrong?
Oh yes, it's certainly a logical possibility that we've all been wasting our time for the last 20 years and that the theory is completely wrong.
There have been periods of many years where all of the smart people, all of the cool people were working on one kind of theory, moving in one kind of direction, and even though they thought it was wonderful, it turned out to be a dead end. This could happen to string theory.
Even though there's no real evidence yet, so much of string theory just makes so much sense. A lot of us believe it's just got to be right.
I don't think it's ever happened that a theory that has the kind of mathematical appeal that string theory has turned out to be entirely wrong. I would find it hard to believe that that much elegance and mathematical beauty would simply be wasted.
I don't really know how close we are to the end. Are we almost there and having the complete story? Is it going to still be another 10 years? Nobody knows.